and welcome to Advertisers Watching Ads. My name is Tom Ollerton. I'm the founder of Automated Creative, and this is a weekly show where brands talk about other brands' ads and discuss what they love and hate about them, what they would change about them, or what they would keep exactly the same. And every week I'm joined by some really exciting leaders of the business. And this week is Pride Special. I'm going to be looking at work from Pride Inside, Budweiser, and Renault. And this show is brought to you by the Conscious Advertising Network, a voluntary coalition of over 70 organizations set up to ensure that the industry ethics catches up with the technology of modern advertising. Please go and check those guys out. So it's a Pride special. Pride has been going since 1969, and actually the first Pride, it transpires, was a riot. And it has grown from then, and some see it as an act of resistance. Some people see it as being really rooted in activism, but some people see it just as a massive party, and it means different things for different people in different countries around the world. So we're going to look at ads that are related to Pride, but who are this week's guests? I would now like them to introduce themselves.
Hi, thanks for that. My name is Lucy McKillop. I am head of brand marketing for Clear Channel UK. We are an out-of-home media owner, and that's my day job. And the gay job, as we like to call it, is joint comms director for advertising. And advertising is the LGBT advocacy group for the advertising industry.
Hello everyone, my name is Stefan Dimov and I'm a client solutions manager at Samsung Ads. That's my day-to-day job, and then on the side I also run a YouTube channel called Project Caritas, the purpose of which is to make ads work for the greater good of people by monetizing the YouTube channel and donating 100% of all ad profits to charity organizations around the world.
My name's Jerry Daykin. I am EMEA Senior Media Director at GSK Consumer Healthcare, so home to Sensodyne, Panadol, Piriton and others. I also have a bit of a side job. I do volunteer also at advertising with Lucy, and I'm also the WFA, one of their two global diversity ambassadors. So super passionate about it, and thanks for having an episode themed around Pride.
All right, so first up, we are going to have a look at Stefan's advert. So Stefan, could you give us a bit of context around your advert, please?
So this ad in particular is by Bud Light Canada, and it's been running for about a week now. It's on YouTube as a sponsored ad. And yeah, as I said, it's mainly running in Canada.
So just try to look right down into the lens whenever you're ready.
Hi, this Pride Month we have the opportunity to reflect.
Without the Black queer community, there are no drag queens.
There is no pride.
There is no pride.
Because of the Black, queer, and trans community who fought for us, I'm able to live proud.
I reveal who I am.
And now it's our turn to help.
We are raising awareness for Rainbow Railroad.
They help our community escape persecution in about 70 countries
where it's illegal to be LGBTQ.
But we all know there's work to be done here.
And we all need to stand up against racism and injustice.
So everyone has the freedom to be and reveal
who they are.
Let's help our community worldwide.
And make it better for
Black lives.
Black LGBTQ plus lives.
Black trans lives.
So Stefan, tell us why you chose this as your ad this week.
Yeah, so the reason why I decided to go with this particular ad is because it's not only very inclusive of the LGBTQ plus community, but they're also trying to provoke and to drive a positive impact by promoting and driving awareness of the Rainbow Railroad. That I think, especially for big brands, it's very important nowadays through their power and their reach to be able to influence people to make the right decisions to drive that awareness.
How about you, Lucy? Did that resonate with you?
I want to know why that's such a kind of emotive thing for that particular person. There's no, I mean, you can infer, you can want, but there's no real explanation as to why they are feeling quite as overwhelmed as they seem to be. And I think that made it stay with me for longer after I'd watched it.
And how about you, Jerry? Do you think it went far enough?
The question I always have with ads like this is kind of who are they showing it to, especially on YouTube. It'd be interesting to know, maybe it is on telly as well, maybe it is broad targeting. It feels a bit like an advert that's possibly only talking to the converted. So if you're just showing it to the LGBT community, maybe you're just showing it to people who nod along. I really hope they're using it more broadly.
And what's it got to do with Budweiser?
So Budweiser, I would give huge credit to, is a brand that has been there and has been engaging the LGBT community for a fair while. If you've been to a Pride event, especially in America, they're always there. They're always out in force. It's easy to criticize a brand as well for like pink washing and just, making an advert with rainbow in to be, topical in the moment. But I think, representation matters. It's great that big brands put rainbows on stuff and talk to people. And I'm sure there are people who saw this advert and grumbled to themselves and didn't like it. But also, people who saw it and it was a nice rainbow of hope that a brand they love was doing it.
Basically, in a Mark Ritson article, he talks about the whole sort of Nike Adidas approach to Black Lives Matter. About I think Adidas retweeted Nike or something like that, and for one day just don't do it. And Mark Ritson was very much talking about the fact that was just a load of social media nonsense and it wouldn't make any difference to anything, which was an entertaining read. But I would be interesting to discuss and hear all of your opinions on the rainbow badging of brands. But is that enough? Is that a good thing? Is it just getting the rainbow flag out there? Just anyone doing it anywhere a great thing, or is it just tokenism?
If you're literally just changing your logo to a rainbow logo for the month of June and then you do absolutely nothing else, then that is an issue for me. And I don't think that's something that people should be practicing. I think, do more, do better.
What's your take on it, Stefan?
I recently watched a video on CNBC which discussing how Pride is becoming one of the months that more and more brands are seeing as the time to invest heavily in marketing, just because of the size of the audience. And obviously, as a marketeer, you realize that this is a huge audience. And then this is also where it becomes a little bit tricky, whether you're actually doing it because you want to be supportive or because you see that there's a way to reach a wider audience.
Actually, P&G in the US just did some research with GLAAD, which shows that people exposed to progressive ads are more likely to accept LGBT people in their families, more likely to be happy working with them, a whole bunch of crazy bonkers things that you'd think they would do anyway.
Right, so let us move on. Now we are going to watch an advert. This is from Jerry. Do you want to give the advert some context while I tee it up?
Yes, so this is an advert from Renault for the Clio, like a brand with a lot of history of telling kind of long distance love stories. It was for their 30th anniversary of the car, I think, and it was a big campaign. So it was on TV quite heavily, with long versions, cut downs, also out of home, social, almost everywhere you looked for a while, you could find it if you went looking.
Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now, you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Said maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me. And after all, you're my wonderwall.
So Jerry, why did you choose this ad?
Yeah, I mean, I've loved Renault adverts since I was a kid. Papa, Nicole. For me, this is kind of an evolution of that territory they've always played in. It's a fantastic, emotive story. And I guess I deliberately chose it because it is an advert about LGBT people, but it's not an advert about pride and about a charity and a cause. It's they wanted to tell a long distance love story. They happened to choose a lesbian or possibly bisexual lesbian couple. And they just told it in a really authentic, roller coastery, honest way. As far as I know, they didn't particularly donate any money to LGBT causes or do anything charitable, but I don't think they necessarily needed to.
How about you, Lucy?
I did love it. I really loved seeing it. I think that I had I'm bi, and I had a mild irritation around being shut down actually in a discussion about this ad, where I sort of questioned whether it was two lesbian women and someone, or actually it was a lesbian woman and a bisexual woman, and someone who I was talking to went, well, of course it's about it's about two lesbians. I mean, you know, and actually that's quite indicative of my experience around how people talk about or feel they can talk about being bisexual and the bisexual experience.
Right, given you guys love this ad so much, I'm going to have to try and strip it back. First off, the fucking music. Jesus Christ. Every time I do this show, someone's got a twee version of a famous song, and I just can't stand advertising twee renditions of brilliant songs.
Another version that reminds me of is the John Lewis ad, the Lily Allen.
But also John Lewis, they used Half the World Away. Oasis again. It's,
yeah.
I just, for an industry that's supposed to be creative, I've seen that card played over and over again.
So ads that have that soundtrack, and they're increasingly common, you know, big emotional storytelling ads. There are so many of them that just kind of play out. I mean, the last frame is like, by the way, that was an ad for Monopoly. That was an ad for Bob's Pizza Warehouse.
Right.
And the thing I loved about this is, and you know, they're not the only one, but it's like they've told a story and the brand was there, like I say, in almost every single frame. The brand enabled a lot of the story, you could argue. And so by the time, I mean, perhaps you wouldn't notice it was, if you know, if you're not into cars, maybe you wouldn't notice, but like most people will have noticed by the end, there's a lot of Renaults in this advert. And so I like that it's moving into that purposeful, emotional space, but like it's super true to the brand. Because I think it's risky when brands like just decide to tell a really big emotive story with a piano in the background, and it's got nothing to do with them.
So we are into our final advert. Lucy, please can you give an introduction to your choice this week?
Sure. So this is slightly different. It's for Pride Inside. So as we know, we weren't able to celebrate Pride in the streets this year because of our global pandemic situation. So Clear Channel worked with Pride Inside to take over 100 photographs made by 18 photographers, all from the queer community, to billboards, digital billboards around the country. It was out of home led, there was a social media element, and it ran for 2 weeks.
Hey, hiya! It's me, Ginger Johnson, and if you've got a minute, I'd like to talk to you about Pride.
Usually at this time of year, queer people and their allies would be taking to the streets to celebrate everything that's great about our community. But this year, that just isn't going to be possible.
Now, more than ever, it's crucial that LGBTQ plus people from all walks of life are proud and visible in our public spaces, which is why I've been making friends with queer photographers all over the UK.
From Birmingham to Belfast, they've taken gorgeous photos of over 100 amazing queer people celebrating Pride at home, and now it's time to take them to the streets. With the help of the lovely people at Clear Channel, these images will be seen in over 1,000 locations all over the UK, from billboards to bus stops, with a potential reach of almost 10 million people.
We're also going to be taking the opportunity to raise some money for the LGBT Consortium, an amazing charity that works with LGBT organisations for stronger LGBT communities. It's taken the combined efforts of a huge team of brilliant LGBTQ people to get this project off the ground, and we can't wait to share it with you.
We're here, we're queer, and we're staying home. But we still have Pride inside. Happy Pride, everyone!
To find out more, visit prideinside.co.uk.
So Lucy, tell us why you chose that.
I love the fact that it's been made by the queer community for the queer community. I love the fact that actually it was essentially it's so quick. The idea happened, I think, or the brief was set on the 19th of May, and by the 16th of June, it had been shot and was live on our screens, which I think is a kind of testament to actually how not just the LGBT community, but how humans in general have pivoted and done an amazing job at kind of shifting to a kind of new way of working.
But it's going to be a brave guest of this show to try and take that ad down. That would be a bit mean, I think.
Yes.
Jerry, do you love it? Do you see anything where it could have improved?
Pride is this, for many people, this fantastic celebration of, you know, everything the LGBT community has to bring it together and to unite us. But it's also, you know, there's nothing more diverse than the LGBT plus community. You know, we're really individual people, right. Almost by definition. Most of us don't fit into kind of a cookie cutter mold. I think it's, you know, it's great in that it celebrates that kind of diversity, that like the full spectrum of people.
So Stefan, for an ad for Pride Inside, there was lots of people outside.
Yeah.
Was I the only person that noticed this?
Well, first of all, I think, and that was something that I wanted to point out as well, that I would have wanted to see a little bit more of those, of that community's people within the ad. Although, yes, they've been shot from a distance, it would have been nice to also catch up their reaction to the campaign, what they actually think about it, because I think it's just a great campaign.
Okay, so who would like to vote for Budweiser? Who would like to vote for Renault? And who would like to vote for Pride Inside? So Pride Inside is this week's winner. Thank you so much, Stefan, Jerry, and Lucy. Please go and check out the Conscious Advertising Network, and thanks to Tiny Giant for the music.